From the radio TV studios at the University of Texas Pan American in Edinburg, Texas, is the Bronc Sports Report. What's up, UTPA? This is your sportscast for the week of September 20th, 2012. And for the week, we have your latest UTPA sports update from international soccer's biggest stories and a fantasy football rundown that will send you to the top of your fantasy league. Starting with the latest track and field news, here's Orlando Vargas.
UTPA's cross-country team is looking pretty good this year. Coach Miller started implementing longer workouts, helping the team see more improvements, and it has started to pay off. This past meet at UTSA, both the men's and women's teams finished second in teams as Judith Chumba and Martin Cassie led the pack. The next meet will be in Corpus Christi, and Coach Miller is confident that at the rate the team is progressing this year, big things are expected for the Bronx in the Great West Conference. For Bronc Radio Sports, I am Orlando Vargas.
Thank you, Orlando Vargas and Mariani Alvarez, for that special contribution. Next up is the tennis team's results from this past week's Islander Open in Corpus Christi. In the Islander Open, the men's tennis doubles team of Ricardo Hopker and Sebastian Job won 2 of their 3 matches to finish runner-up, but that wasn't all. Sebastian Job also won the singles championship at the Islander Open. The women's tennis team received a trophy as well, as freshman Didi Fachikova won the singles championship on Sunday. The ladies returned to action Friday, September 28th through the 30th at the UTSA Roadrunner Tournament in San Antonio. The men's tennis team will return to action on Friday, September 21st at the HEB Invitational in Westaco. In volleyball news, on Friday the 14th, the UTPA women's volleyball team ran over Texas Southern University 3-0, led by freshman Haley Durham, who had a career-high 5 aces. On Saturday, they played defending NAIA national champ University of Texas Brownsville, but came up just short, falling 3-2. The team returns to action Friday the 21st at Norfolk State in the first match of the Spartan Invitational. This past weekend, the women's golf team traveled to Chicago, Illinois for the CSU Cougar Classic, where they finished 8th with a final round score of 324. They have a few weeks off before heading out to Tulsa, Oklahoma to take on Oral Roberts University. After a suspended first round due to darkness, UTPA men's golf team finished 5th in the Mo O'Brien Intercollegiate Tournament, led by Kevin Kirakosian, who shot a 369 in the final round, the second lowest score of the day. The men's squad will be back in action on October 8th and 9th in Huntsville, Texas. When big news happens in international soccer, Juliet Boteo is there with the scoop.
In the Mexican Soccer League, the Chivas of Guadalajara are preparing for their next game this upcoming Sunday against Pumas of UNAM. During their practice, the players seemed confident, even though one of their main forwards, Marco Fabian, will be out for 3 weeks due to a shoulder injury. Fortunately for the soccer player, a medical procedure will not be required. And on better news for Chivas, their forward Omar Arellano is back on the field after suffering a mild leg injury. Chivas promises an interesting game against the Pumas this weekend. For Bronc Sports, I am Juliet Botello.
Only one man on campus knows as much about fantasy football as the pros. Here's Javi Guerrero with this week's fantasy football tips.
Welcome to your Week 3 edition of the Bronc Radio Fantasy Football Minute. Once again, my must start of the week from the quarterback position is RG3, Robert Griffin III. He has yet another favorable matchup against the banged-up Cincinnati Bengals defense, who have given up an average of 21 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. If you have RG3, start him. A possible sleeper quarterback would be Alex Smith, who ranks in the top 10 in fantasy points at his position after 2 weeks. Smith has a great matchup this week against the Minnesota Vikings team that has allowed an average of 19 fantasy points against opposing quarterbacks. With Fred Jackson out of action, C.J. Spiller is a terrific starter at running back. Michael Bush of the Chicago Bears is also another strong running back option. With Matt Forte most likely out of action, look for Michael Bush to get the bulk of the carries for the Bears. A wide receiver to strongly consider this week is Michael Crabtree of the San Francisco 49ers. Crabtree hasn't posted huge fantasy totals in his first 2 weeks, but the Texas Tech product has a very favorable match against a very weak Minnesota Vikings secondary, who's given up the 9th most fantasy points to wideouts in 2012. For Bronc Radio, I'm Javi Guerrero.
Well, that's it for this week's Sportscast. I would like to thank radio station manager Cassie Perez and news director Alex Ramirez, as well as all the radio station staff. And remember to support your UTPA athletics. Go Bronc!